So today we'll be talking about the basic principles of design. Yo, that's great. So let's get to understand what design is, and let's get to you know understand and also learn about the basic principles of design. Yeah, so the first thing first, let's get to know what design is. So what is design? Now, design is not just about making things look cool. It's about making sure people can understand, use, and enjoy what we create, what you create. So that is design. Yeah, so it's not just about making things look so beautiful, it's about making things work well as well. All right, so there are major principles that guide us when it comes to design, and these principles here are listed here in my slide. So we have number one, which is balance. So what is balance? Balance means making sure the weight of a design feels even. All right, so it makes sure the weight of a design feels even one side is too heavy. Even one side is too heavy with text or image, it feels uncomfortable. Now let me explain that. Imagine we have one side of our design, maybe we are designing a website, and one part of the one, maybe the left hand side of the landing page or the website design contains image and text. Yeah, image and text, left hand side, not the right hand side though. So if you look that part will be so busy, the left hand side will be so busy. But imagine a situation whereby we have the left hand side containing the image and the right hand side containing the text, just like I did on my slide. You see, I had to divide the slide into two parts. I have this guy here and I have this one here. So but imagine I have this 1 2 3 just in this particular part of this my slide. It will look so busy and it will be uncomfortable in the eyes of the users. But if you have them this way, everything will be balanced. All right, so this is how balance works. So this is what balance helps us as well. So everything needs to be or look the same. Everything needs to be aligned and look the same as well. All right, so that is it. So the next one here is contrast. Contrast makes things stand out. Yeah, contrast makes things stand out. Without contrast, everything blend in and become boring. You can create contrast with color, you can create contrast with size, you can create contrast with shape. Yeah, imagine you have a white background, and you on that white background your text, which is maybe, for example, your text there is colored white. It will be so boring to in the eyes of the users. Yeah, so you need to make it blend. Maybe you can have your background white and the text black. It will be readable and users can easily relate to what you are talking about. All right, so these are really important when it comes to contrast. Now the next one is emphasis. Emphasis is not about highlighting the most important part of your design. You want people's eyes to go there first. Yeah, you want people's eyes to go there first. So emphasis is usually done with bold text, bright color, or large size. It's usually done with bold text, large, bright color, or large size. Now, for example, we have Spotify emphasize the green. Spotify emphasize the green play button because that's the main action they want you to take. So you can't imagine Spotify having a black button or whichever color button. It won't really blend. So if they have a black background or a white background with the button green, that really triggers us that okay, this is the button. But imagine them having a white background, then the button is looking gray. Our attention won't go there. But if our attention should go more with what we call emphasis. All right, emphasis will help us. So maybe they can have their own brand color that okay, if I click on this button which is green, it will take me to the next page. Yeah, that's emphasis. Now the next one here is actually what we call proportion. So we have proportion is the relationship between size of elements. If something look too big or too small compared to others, it feels wrong. All right, if something feels too big or too small compared to others, it feels wrong. So everything needs to be aligned. Now we are going back to alignment. So sorry, we are going back to balance. Everything needs to balance. So imagine you have a very tiny text, it won't be readable. Imagine you having a very large text as well. You're using the large text at the wrong time. Yeah, you're using the large text because we want to read it, but That is very wrong. So you need to make sure you're actually following the principles of design. Now imagine I have this my proportion test very big. It will contain this frame, but because I know how to manage it, I can easily read what I wrote here. I can easily read what I wrote here because I'm working with the principles of design, and I'm also following what we call balance. So I have to balance everything together. Yeah. So the next one is hierarchy. Hierarchy is like a ranking system. It tells people what to read or look at first, second, and last. Now imagine your first page says the best way to invest money. That big test is what triggers the users. That big test is actually what triggers the users. Now it draws our attention. Best way to invest money, because I'm looking for a platform where I can actually invest my money, but me seeing that stuff, the best way to invest and save my money on a particular website will trigger me to get to know more about that website. Now the downside could be our success rate. Yeah, because I'm seeing a success rate, I will get to read more about the success rate, because these are hierarchy. Those BB tests that differentiate sections are what we call hierarchy. All right, so the next on our list is actually alignment. Alignment is about keeping things lined up so they look neat and connected. Misaligned elements make a design look messy. All right, so alignment is about it's about keeping things lined up so they look neat and connected. Keeping things lined up so they look neat and connected. So see the way I aligned my stuff. I had to put proportion here, I had to put hierarchy here, and I also had to put alignment here. Imagine I make them looking so scattered, you won't be able to understand what I'm trying to initiate or teach you. And I also put a divider line telling you that this is actually the first one, this is actually the second one, this is actually the third one. So these are alignments. So I have to make sure everything are well aligned as well, and also balanced as well. So the next one here is repetition. Let's get to know what repetition is. So repetition creates consistency. Yes, it creates consistency by repeating styles, font, or color. The design feels familiar and professional. So imagine you're using yellow in a particular landing page or website. You don't have to be changing different shade of yellow. You can easily use a particular shade of yellow. Yeah, if you're using different shade of yellow, your design won't be consistent, it won't be user friendly. So but if you use a particular shade of yellow, if you're using green, let that green be green. All right, you don't have to use different shade of greens. So if you use a particular green, let it be green. If I come here, I'm still seeing that same green I saw at the top of the website. If I go down, I'm still seeing that same particular green I saw at the top of the website. So that is consistency. So you can easily repeat this color over and over and over until you're done with your design. All right, so the next one is white space. White space is the empty area between elements. It does not have to be white, it just means space without stuff. Imagine you're writing without giving space, or you're trying to give a section without giving space. I will still fall back to my design here. I will still fall back to this design. You see, actually I have my space here. I have space here to this place is actually a space. You see, I have my repetition, and you have to come down maybe with 4 count or 5 count to get to see my repetition. All right, what I mean by repetition. So these are spaces. Same thing with this one. You see, I have my spaces. So spaces really help us in terms of design as well. So the next one is harmony, unity and harmony. Now unity makes sure everything feels like it belongs together. Unity makes sure everything feels like it belongs together. Harmony comes from using consistent color, font and style. You see, you have to group your text. That's harmony. Whenever you're designing, you design your shape, you design a particular, I don't know, but anything you're designing, you have to put them in a family. Then you have to use a consistent color, you have to use a consistent font, and whichever style you're using should be consistent. That is harmony. You don't have to use array and the other side you're using J. You have to be consistent when it comes to your design. So if you can maintain repetition, you can maintain harmony. If you can maintain repetition, you can maintain balance, you can achieve what we call unity and harmony. So guys, So let's say this is actually the basic principles of design. We have a lot of principles, but I had to mention these basic ones for we all to understand. So these principles are like the rules of the game. For design, when you follow them, your design looks professional, communicates better, and easier for users to understand and easier to use as well. All right, so thank you so much, guys. On our next episode, I will get to explain some basic things about US and UI, so we'll get to understand the difference between UI and US. Thank you, guys.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.